Welcome to Advaita Vedanta Satsang. The ongoing room is on Bhagavad Gita. We are on the chapter 4 and verse number 13. So Prakash will come and he will post the required links in the chat. And for the time being, I have switched off the hand raising, which will be opened after I complete my classes. So let me do my invocation. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmiti Murti Veda Vipagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The Gita Dhyana Slokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunnandi Divyaistavai Vedai Sangapada Panishadai Gayanti Yam Tamaga Dhyanavastita Tadgate Namanasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidussura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Oh. We saw that people who desire success of action worship various deities for quick results, especially in the human world or the empirical world, where scriptural duties exist. But, however, such results arise from karma and therefore are limited. They remain limited in their functioning. While those who follow the path of knowledge, the highest knowledge, that lies in realizing the non-dual self. Now, if that is what Krishna has said, then the next verse, preamble by Shankaracharya, is placing some statements which are to be studied before we enter the next verse. Manusha eva loke varnashramadi karma adhikaraha na anyeshu lokeshu iti niyamha kim nimitta iti athava varnashramadi pravibhaga upetaha manusyaha mama vartma anuvartante sarvashaha ityuktam tasmat punaha karanat niyamena tava eva vartma anuvartante na anya iti asya iti uchyate. That is, manusha eva loke varnashramadi karmadikaraha. So only in the human world is there the eligibility to perform the sacrificial duties as per the Vedas, and such as those of Varna and Ashrama. That is based on the Vedic dictum. Na anyeshu lokeshu iti niyama kim nimitta iti. Why is there such a rule that this eligibility does not exist in the other worlds? Athava or anyatha, or in other words, it has been said that humans Varnashramadi pravibhaga upetaha manushyaha mama vartma anuvartante sarvasha ityuktam. That is, it has been said that humans endowed with the division of Varna and Ashrama follow my path in every way. This was the verse which he followed, that 11th verse. Krishna has said that. Therefore, kasmat punak karanat niyamena tava eva vartma anuvartante na anyasya iti. But for what reason do they necessarily follow your path alone, which is endowed with the divisions of varna and ashrama, not on that of any other? This raises the question, why only human beings possess the eligibility for the duties of the varna and ashrama system? Why all humans necessarily follow the Lord's path? This prepares the explanation that the cosmic order of dharma itself originates from the Lord. So there is a contextual part which we have to understand. In the 12th verse, it was identified that the most common mode of mama vartma anuvartante sakama devata yajna for the karmaja siddhi. That is, they follow my path but using sakama devata yajna, that the desire yielding devatas. For what? Karmaja siddhi. What is born, what is the fruit of the action for attaining that? The implicit question arising is that if Parameshwara is the sovereign of all paths, what is his relationship into the social and cosmic order? That is, Swarna and Vyarna Vyavastha is the social and cosmic order, within which all karma is performed. Now, this is being answered in the 13th verse directly by Krishna, and with a philosophical consequence that extended far beyond social organization. The verse performs three moves simultaneously. One is it asserts Parameshwara's authorship. As for the Chaturvarnya, I created the fourfold order. Chaturvarnya means fourfold order. Then number two is that specifies the basis for that creation. On what basis did he create the fourfold? Guna karma vibhagasha. By the division of, or by the division using guna and karma. Immediately and paradoxically, he makes one more statement, which is the most important one. Though I am its originator, creator or doer, karta, know me as akarta, non-doer, avyaya and imperishable. So when he says this one, there is two aspects. He is contradicting himself immediately after he is saying, I am the karta, I am the doer of this, and I am also non-doer of it. So that verse is highly tricky to decipher and understand with ordinary intelligent method of whatever is available with us. We need somebody who has what you call a complete knowledge of Vedas and a complete understanding the intricacies hidden in these words. So, the verse goes like this. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram api mam viddhi akartaram avyayam. Let us look at each of the words. Chaturvarnyam. First, let us give the meaning for it. The fourfold varna order, or the system of four varnas. Now, the word varna is being explained later. We will see it at that time. Maya, by me. Srishtam means projected or emitted or, put into appearance. The word is srij, the same, srijami, mama atma mayaya. In the earlier verse we saw that. I project the world in my Atma Maya, my Maya. So the same root is used here. Srishtam means from Srija. Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. It's a complex compound forming an adverbial word, adverbial to Chaturvarnya, the fourfold. According to the division of Guna and Karma. Tasya Kartaram Apimam. Tasya means refers to Chaturvarnya. Of it. Tasya means of that. Kartaram means doer, creator, agent, etc. Api is for the concessive particle, which is although, even though, nevertheless, etc. Mam is me as an object. So, Vidhi is the instruction or the order or the what you call injunction. So, the object of Vidhi is Kartaram. And there is also an object of Vidhi as me. So, there are two objects for the same verb. Then, there is a third object for the same word Vidhi. Akartaram. Vidhi Akartaram Avyayam. So, one verb, three objects. And we need to connect between this formation of this verb with the real deciphering. This verse 13 is the philosophical pivot for Shankaracharya. The verse where the doctrine of akartrutva means non-doership of Ishvara, and by extension of the same, the Atman, is most directly stated that I am a non-doer or I am never doing anything in any world. Trishu lokeshu kinchana. Mama, he has said this in the earlier thing. There is nothing which is to be attained or that which is not yet attained by me in the three worlds. Which shows the type of kartrutva and akartrutva. So here he is saying that, Krishna is saying that verse where akartrutva, non-doership of Ishvara, has been verbally stated by Krishna. I am a non-doer. But there is a paradox. Kartaram apimam. Also I am the doer. When he makes such a paradoxical statement, it's not a logical contradiction, but very difficult to understand. If we use the Advaitic resolution of agency, the doership, then the Parameshwara is the apparent karta. Srishtam, that word is the Srija, Mama Atma Maya, when he has mentioned that. So that Srija means to project. Therefore, the apparent karta at the Vyavaharika level, where Varna and Ashramas are there, or fourfold in a classification. And the essential akarta, which is at the Paramarthika level. Even though I appear to be having produced this world with the fourfold creations, I am actually has no creatorship in me. That is Krishna's statement. Therefore, this dual characterization is the model of what is expected for a karma yogi when he does the karma yoga also. Krishna making this statement is from the point of view of a karma yogi, for what? Dharma samsthapanarthaya, for maintaining the dharma in this world. A karma yogi who is now in the process of acquiring this knowledge, when he is doing his actions without expectation of the fruits of action, he has to have this same mentality. While I am performing the actions, I am the non-doer Atma, the self, where the fruits of action is not there at all, because it's an apparent action. This is what is mentioned as the model for Karma Yogi's own relationship in action. The verse is thus simultaneously cosmological because it origins the social order. It is theological because it talks about the nature of Parameshwara, because I am Akarta and Avyaya. He is talking this. But then there is also a soteriological aspect also to it. The model for Akartrutva that Karma Yoga must embody. That is why I say this verse is one of the most complicated verse. Most of the people mistake this verse without knowing its intricacies. And they blame that Krishna created caste system in India, and because of the caste system, today India is going to dogs. Not realizing he is not mentioning anywhere about the caste system at all. What he is talking about is the social order of engagement in action without being the doer of the action, when the doership is itself is divided into fourfold due to the nature of action and the nature of the quality of the action, guna, karma. Let us look the detailed aspect of it. Chaturvarnyam is the word which we need to understand first. Chatur means four. It's a numerical word for four. So Chatur, the moment it is that of the fourfold, it will become like that. Varna, color, class, order. It is from the root varn, to describe or to categorize, to order and to divide is the meaning of it. The four varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now, Brahmana predominantly for knowledge and teaching, Kshatriya for protection and ruling, Vaishya for trade and agriculture, Shudra for services, is the way in which it has been divided. So Chaturvarnyam means the fourfold Varna order as a systemic whole. It's not merely a fourfold systemic order, as separate entities must systematically and integrated fourfold order as a cosmic social reality. So it is there, this quality, guna and karma, we will discuss that verb separately, that word, is same not only in human beings. It is there in the cosmos, in every species. Human species, animal species, bird species, tree species, star species, planet species, everywhere it is seen this. So we will see that how we can relate this to human beings. That is our interest. The next word is the same word srij, from the root srij, means srishtam. Srijamyaham. In the seventh verse we saw that, no? Srijamyaham means I project myself. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So that seventh verse he said that whenever there is a decline in the dharma and an ascent in the adharma, I project myself or I appear myself. Dharma samsthapanarthaya, for the restraining and re-establishing dharma in the world. So where he said that I project myself or I appear myself or I am, presenting myself for this purpose. So the word srijami means from the point of view I. Here he is using a word srishtam, means having created, having projected, or having emitted, or having projected. That is the word which suits the best. As in the seventh verse analysis, we saw that word srij carries a sense of projection without transformation. He has not changed himself when he is projecting his sovereign power, Atma Maya. So it's a vivarta upadana rather than a parinama. The Chaturvarnya is projected by Parameshwara using his sovereign creative power, not an intrinsic modification of Brahman's nature. So, Maya Srishtam, created by me or projected by me, the instrumental Maya asserts the direct authorship, not created by Brahma or Parameshwara as an independent deity, not evolved from Prakriti independently, but projected by Parameshwara himself as the sovereign ground of all cosmic order. This connects directly to Srijamyaham because he himself comes into one of the order. As Krishna, he came as a Yadava. The Yadava clan in India today is categorized into OBC, other backward community. But it doesn't mean that all Yadavas are in the backward. We have Yadavas who were rulers. We have Yadavas who are now also in the realm of office bearers and politicians, etc. So it doesn't mean that they are downtrodden. And Krishna himself being a Yadava and a king of Mathura after dethroning his uncle when he became the king of Mathura, he is considered as a Kshatriya or a warrior class. He had his own kingdom, he had his own army, all of them. So when he mentioned the statement to Arjuna that Srijamyaham mama Maya Srishtam means using Maya as my sovereign ground for all cosmic order, Srijamyaham, I project myself into one of them. But at the same time, he says that Srishtam, at the same time, Kartaram Apimam. Now there are three verbs three objects into the same verb, we will see that how we have to relate to each one of them. So Shankaracharya first establishes that Chaturvarnya is not an arbitrary human convention, Laukika Vyavastha, or a historical accident. It is Srishta by Parameshwara himself, created or projected by Parameshwara himself. And therefore, participates in the cosmic dharma. Its origin in the same Atma Maya, that is through which the avatara itself manifests. So it is part of Parameshwara's sovereign dharma samstapana. For the purpose of establishing dharma, he creates the social order of the fourfold and he himself gets projected into one of them. Crucially, Shankaracharya immediately decouples the Chaturvarnya from the birth and lineage by the specification which is called the Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, which comes in the next pada. The basis for the four varnas is not a hereditary birth, but a natural division using the gunas and karma. The varna system is in its pure form is a functional division of guna karma, a cosmic principle of differentiation, not a rigid social hierarchy based on jati, caste by birth. Jati has got two meanings. One is class, which is that like the animal called cow is a jati. Animal called monkey is a jati. But as an animal is different jati from human. So human group is also a jati. So this is how the word jati is used in the times of Shankaracharya, which was there, but there also it adharma, when the dharma was in the downfall and adharma was increasing, even during Krishna's period and Mahabharata time, this caste by birth had started showing its head and differentiated. That is why Krishna said that I projected myself for restoring dharma and eradicating adharma, that is dharma samstapana. Okay. Now, what is this guna karma Krishna is talking about? Vibhagashaha means division. Guna is the three gunas of Prakriti. Sattva, which stands for lucidity, clarity, knowledge, etc. Rajas is activity, passion, dynamism, etc. Tamas is inertia, obscurity, heaviness, lethargy, etc. In the cosmological context, all phenomena, including the human psychological and functional dispositions, arise from a specific proportion and interaction of these three gunas. So these three gunas are the fundamental. Guna guneshu vartanda. We studied that earlier. Each guna in the sense organ is for a corresponding guna object of the sense object. Same way, these three gunas are there in our mental, intellectual and physical aspects. Not only in the sense organs. In the mind, the nature of the mind, whether it is for sattva, rajas or tamas, whether knowledge or dynamism or inertia. These type of things are seen in the people. There are people who are for clarity and knowledge is they're called sattvic people. Those who are dynamic and passionate are called rajasic people. Those who are inertia and obscure are called tamasic people. So, the proportion in which the three gunas interact in each one's mind from time to time will decide what is the nature in which they behave. Not only the nature in which they behave, what is the maximum type of behavior a person shows is the reason why a personality is categorized into it. It is not that he doesn't show the other two qualities. The other two also will come, but they are rare in such a person. Predominantly one of that. But not only that, when your mind is there, where your intellect is like that, your physical body and the actions by the body, which is called the karma, natural action arising from one's own nature, which is basically the gunas, inherent nature, swabhava. The specific functional activity naturally arising from one's guna proportion. Not an arbitrary action, but an action expression of one's guna's constitution in his being. In the sense, his nature in his mind works, nature in which his intellect thinks about it, coupled by the mind and the intellect, how he executes his actions. That is the karma. So there is a division or distribution or differentiation or classification which is called the vibhaga. The systematic differentiating these principles of guna and karma that create the distinct categories from the undifferentiated whole, which is the nature of the self. So it is not the self which is having the qualities, guna and karma. It is the upadhi or the instrument, body, mind and intellect. As a compound, guna karma vibhaga is defined as a compound which within there are two categories which can, either a tatpurusha or a karmadarya. Gunasya karma or gunasya karma. I mean, it is the karma action of guna. That is one way of looking at it. The other way is guna and karma. Guna and karma, both in the noun form itself. So division of guna and karma can be either straight guna and karma in proportion which is being exhibited, or by the way of division of guna and karma as a karma motivated or controlled by the guna. These two are ways in which. But the four varnas are generally categorized in the Shastra in the following way. The varna is called Brahmana when his dominant guna is Sattva dominant. And the natural karma or Swabhava karma or Swabhavika karma for them are Adhyayana, teaching. Adhyapana is educating. Teaching and educating are different. Yajana and Yajna. Doing Yajna for somebody else and doing Yajna for oneself. Dhana, by giving, charity, etc. Pratigraha, by receiving dana. Not only he gives dana, he also receives dana, or he takes reward for the yajna or teaching, etc. also. So therefore, knowledge, teaching and rituals which needs knowledge as a predominant function. Therefore, they are called Sattva dominant, and that is seen in the Brahmana. The second category is called the Kshatriya, means the warrior class or the ruler class. They have Sattva and Rajas in equal proportion. They have Shura, means valor. Teja means what you call the power with which they can attract or comment on this thing. That is what is called the Teja. Dhriti is they have sharpness with which they will win. Daksha is compassion. Yuddhe chapi apalayanam. Even in a war, they will never run away from a war, even if they have to die in the war. So protecting, governance, courage, etc., these are all the nature of Kshatriya. The Vaishya is Rajas dominant, which is Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya, etc. is their karma. That is agriculture, animal husbandry and trade. Because they are highly active people, they are emotional people and driven by, momentary decisions, etc. They don't think much. If they want to make a profit, they will do that. Sometimes they may even at a loss, they will make a decision. So it's all temporary or temporal nature in them. And Shudras are the class which is in. There is nothing called who is superior, who is down. Let us not divide them saying that this is a lower class or a higher class. Krishna has never said anywhere this. The Shudras are Tamas and Rajas combination. There is some activity, but predominantly inertia. So, unless asked, they will not do Paricharaka karma, that is service oriented. They mainly support the other three by becoming their supporting roles. For the Brahmanas also they do the supporting roles. For the Kshatriya also they do the supporting roles. For the Vaishya also they will do the supporting role. And so they are present in all the three. In the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishudra, they will be there accompanying them. So they will, and those who accompany to each one of them will have predominance of that quality to accompany them. That means a Shudra who has got more Kshatriya quality in him will be an assistant to a Kshatriya. A Shudra who has got more interest in the Vanijya or the business and trade or agriculture and animal husbandry, etc., will be going along with the Vaishya, assisting him. Over a period, he will learn this and he will become a Vaishya. It is like that. And the Swabhavika karmas which are mentioned here are explicitly enumerated when we go to the last chapter 18, verse number 41 to 44. That time we will study the natural habits of people. So, Guna Karma Vibhagasha, the most philosophically important phrase in this line. Because it establishes the Advaitic principle of Swabhava-based differentiation rather than the birth-based hierarchy. The Chaturvanya is created according to the division of quality and action, the quality of action also. The basis is guna, the natural psychophysical constitution of the individual, swabhava. of each being, which is determined by the proportion of sattva, rajas or tamas in their antakarana and body. That's antakarana means mind and intellect. This guna proportion is itself what has been created by the Ishvara as Maya Srishta, part of the sovereign creative order of Ishvara himself. And the expression of karma, natural action patterns, swabhavika karma, that flows from each guna constitution. Brahmana swabhava naturally expresses in adhyayana and adhyapana, learning and teaching. Kshatriya swabhava is in protection, governance, etc. The division is the systematic differentiation of these guna and karma combination into 4 functional categories that Parameshwara has created. Not 4 types of human ranked by birth, but 4 functional modes of varnas, which is called the cosmic and social organization. So Shankaracharya's implication here is, since varna is based on guna and karma, not by birth, it is in principle fluid. One whose guna karma is satvika is brahmana functionally, regardless of his birth and lineage. Now, for example, this is the case where we have a story about a person called Jabala. He is a rishi when he grew up. But as a child, he was born to a maid who was serving many households. So she became mother from one of the household where she was not sure who was the father. But when the child grew up, he wanted to know and go on to study under a famous rishi. So he asked his mother, "Mother, if I am going to study this from an acharya, they will ask me what is my name, who is my father, etc. So what should I say, who is my father?" So Japala's mother, Japala is the lady, Japala says that Satyakama is his name. "O Satyakama, son, you know I have been serving in many houses." The mother also tells the truth. "So I do not know who is your father. One of the house where I was serving would be your father. So, but I will not be able to tell who exactly was your father. I don't know." So if the acharya asked in the ashrama, "You say you are Jabala's son, that is for sure you are my son. And your name is Satyakama. And then who is your father?" they ask. "Tell the truth that your mother doesn't know who the father is." So the boy goes to the banks of Ganges where the Gautama Rishi was, with his entourage, was taking bath and coming. So he went there. After his also the bathing and all, he prostrates the Guru, Gautama, and asks and telling, "Acharya, will you take me as your disciple?" So the natural question those days which was asking, "Oh my son, my dear boy, Saumya, what is your name?" He said, "My name is Satyakama Japala." "Who is your father?" Then boy says that, "My mother Japala told me that she doesn't know who my father is because she has been serving as a maid in many houses." Then the Acharya says, you are glad. I'm glad that you had the audacity and or not audacity, you had the courage to tell the truth that what your mother told, your mother is also great because she taught you the truth and you had the courage to tell you the truth, which is the quality of a Brahmana. Therefore, your inquiry or your inquisition or your earnestness to learn knowledge is welcomed and you can be my disciple. So then he becomes the Satyakama, on whose there is he has done lot of creation of writing the mantras and Upanishad, etc. So that is why this methodology, which is based on the guna karma, which was Swatika in the case of Satyakama, therefore functionally he is a Brahmana. And his birth and lineage doesn't show that whether he had a father who is a Brahmana or not. So this reading is the one which anticipates Mahabharata's own discussion. In the Mahabharata also, in the Vanaparva, there is a statement called Na Jatir Jayate Dharma. From the jati, from the caste, Na Jayate doesn't give birth to what is called Dharma. Dharma is born not from the jati, not by the caste into which you are born. Dharma is ingrained in everyone based on the guna and karma. And it aligns with the Advaita principle that functional differentiation is vyavaharika from the empirical point of view. And the Atman underlying all varnas is only one and it is non-dual. Then comes the word Kartaram, which Krishna says, Kartaram apimam. The word carries its full philosophical weight in the Advaita when the Kartrutva, the doership or agency, is precisely what the Jiva falsely superimposes upon Atman through Adhyasa. I become a doer or agency when I am identifying with my superimposition that I am the body. This Adhyasa, that I am the body, is the Atma being superimposed by the body as Atma. It was established in the Adhyasa Bhashya, Brahma Sutra Adhyasa. Yushmadasmat Pratyavocharyo Vishay Vishino Tama Prakashavat Viruddha Swabhavayo. That the opening commentary for first mantra of Brahma Sutra. Here Krishna accepts the predication Karta for himself. Tasya Kartaram Apimam. At the same time, simultaneously and paradoxically negating it by saying Viddhi Akartaram Avyayam, creating the central philosophical tension in the whole verse. And there here also, like in the 4.6, Ajopi San, even though not born, Sambhavami, I create myself, or I get born, or I become. When he means that I am without being born, I become. In the 4.6, he said that. Same way here also, Api Kartaram Api Mam Viddhi Akartaram. So he says that although I am the Karta of it, of Chadurvarnya, know me Viddhi Akartaram as the non-doer. A characteristic Gita device for holding the differentiation between the empirical and the absolute, Vyavaharika and Paramarthika descriptions, in a simultaneous tension. Tasya Kartaram Api Mam Akartaram Avyayam Viddhi. Know me though I am the Karta of Chadurvarnya as Akarta and Avyaya also. The Api creates a paradox between Karta and Akarta. Karta is at the Vyavaharika level, Akarta at the Paramarthika level. If this is understood simultaneously and without contradiction, then there is no paradox at all. Therefore, Tasya Kartaram Api is Shankaracharya very careful in using it. He says that Krishna accepts the Vyavaharika prediction of Kartrutva without hesitation, saying when he says that, I am indeed the Karta of Chaturvanya. This acceptance by Krishna is very important. It is not a false modesty or a rhetorical denial of the Brahman Parameshwara's creative role. The Chaturvanya is genuinely a srishti or a creation of Ishvara. But it is the Paramarthika, Vyavaharika truth. It is in the empirical world. But although he uses the word api, immediately after that qualifies this Vyavaharika Kartrutva does not constitute the Paramarthika truth of me, Parameshwara, which is Akartrutva and Avyaya. So Krishna himself is giving us a picture in this verse that when I project using my Maya, the multiplicity in this world, for the order of maintaining Dharma and dilution or the destruction of adharma, I am projecting multiple nature of myself in the form of qualifications based on quality and action, where the category of cosmic and social order is decided into fourfold. The knowledge-based people, the rulers and the governance type of people, and trade and agriculture type of people, and that fourth category to support these three, which again has got predominance of each of them. This is projected by me for the purpose of Maya, for maintaining Dharma, uplift of Dharma and demotion of Adharma. But while projecting this, I have not undergone any creation myself. I am remaining as Avyaya and Akarta. So the verb Vidhi, which Krishna is using with the three objects, that Vidhi means to know. It's a imperative injunction given. No means this is a direct injunction. Vidhi. The most forceful grammatical form of instruction available. Unlike the other optive, Vijaniyat, one should know, or Janati, one knows, etc. The imperative address here is to Arjuna directly and urgently. Arjuna, you must know me as the truth, Akarta and Avyaya. At the same time, there is an urgency that requires me to be projecting myself, using my Maya, using Guna and Karma as the measure of each of this classification. That also, Jnana is not optional but essential of knowing me as Akarta and Avyaya. That is the Jnana. That know me as non-doer and imperishable. That is essential. That is the Tattva-Jnana whose fruit is moksha. Then how does he say he is an Akarta or non-doer when he is projecting also? Let him not do anything. But he is projecting. Therefore, Shankaracharya says it's a philosophical term essential characteristics of Atman. Because Atman is never the true agent of any action. But then, using my Maya, I am projecting myself and everything this says. How does it gel? How can we understand this word? Truly speaking, action requires a doership, kartrutva. And to have a doership, you require a sankalpa. Sankalpa means volition, will. And to have a volition or a will, which requires an ahankara, ego, I am the doer. And when I am saying I am a doer, I need a limiting agent as an upadhi for me to function, for which I am using my body, mind-body complex. If my mind-body complex is not there with me, even if I am existing, I will not know anything, I will not be able to do anything, I will not have any doership. That is our state in deep sleep. I am there, but I am not a doer. Even the ego is not there, I am. Therefore, action requires kartrutva, means need a will, sankalpa, and for will to be there, the author of the will, ego has to be there, and to function that expression as an action, it needs a limiting agent which is called the upadhi. The Atman is nirupadhika, without any limiting agent. There is no body, there is no mind, no intellect, no world, no empirical world, nothing in it. And therefore, it is nirahankara. There is no sense of I in Atma. The pure self doesn't have an I. So even when we say Aham Brahmasmi, that Aham is not from the Ahankara level. It is from the self there. There the Aham is self. Not the ego or the Ahankara I. And when it is Nirupadhika, without limiting agent and without the ego, Nirahankara, therefore there is no doership because there is no upadhi, adjunct, there is no will. Who is the author of the action? So Atma is different and the one which is thinking as a karta is different. And he is also using a word avyayam, imperishable, undecaying, not subject to expenditure or decay. Here the qualifying Parameshwara directly says that he is avyaya. Krishna himself says, I am avyaya. Mam, vidhi, akarta, avyayam, mam. Know me as akarta and avyayam. Which is the ontological ground for his akartutva. The connection, if Parameshwara is avyaya, without any, which does not undergo any modification, then no action can modify him. And one who is unmodified by action is akarta essentially. What happens is that, I'll take another 2 minutes just to complete the words before we go to the commentary. When he says Chadurvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram apimam vidhi akartaram avyayam. The fourfold varna order has been created by me according to the division of guna and karma. Know me, though I the karta of it, as the akarta and avyaya. So here we have to understand that the kartrutva and akartrutva paradox under the same verb or injunction vidhi. Know me karta api, though the doer, as the truth as I am not the doer, non-doer. The reason is avyaya. That is where the whole thing is clinching. We know avyaya is which doesn't decay or which is imperishable. And that is why action will modify the doer. Please listen carefully. Every activity modifies the doer. How? If I am undertaking an activity, the activity will have to have an authorship. A ownership as I am the doer. Not only that, the authorship of I am the doer, it has to be triggered by a will or a volition on my part to do the action. When the will in me takes shape, I use my ego as the author of the action which my will needs to get it done, and for which I need to use my adjuncting limits as the body, mind, intellect, which is the upadhi. And when I am using the body, mind and intellect for the action while doing is also modifying the mind and intellect. A sense of completion of the will which has happened in the mind and intellect, now by executing that I am doing the work. Therefore, the doership has now become I am doing the work. And when it is completed, there is a sense of satisfaction of having completed the action. And that is also at the mind and the intellect level. There, the expectation of a result also can come. And when the expectation of a result comes, I accept it. I become happy if it is favorable. I become angry, krodha, if it is unfavorable, which modifies my mind and intellect, which again modifies the will with which I will be deciding how to react. The body will then react. The modification of the body takes place. Therefore, avyayam is only possible if I am not the doer. Therefore, when Krishna said that asya kartaram api mam vidhi akartaram avyayam, when he says in the one breath this statement that I am doer at the same time know me as the non-doer, is to ensure, and avyayam, when he added the word avyayam, imperishable, is to establish the akartatvam, the non-doership. Otherwise, the confusion would have remained kartaram api ma avidhi akartaram. If he stops at there, then these are contradictory and paradoxical. But the moment he added avyayam, imperishable one, the akartrutvam gets the predominance over the kartrutvam. Therefore, he becomes a doer in the projection, not in reality. His paramarthika or the absolute reality as he remains as non-doer. The doership is only for the purpose of the projection where he created the world. Ajopisan. Remember, go through the verse, 6th verse again once more time. Ajopisan sambhavami aham. So that I am creating even though I am not born. That is why Gita is very difficult if we start studying it our own. When an explanation given by Shankaracharya itself is so complicated, imagine if somebody is trying to understand it without using any translation or Shankaracharya Bhashya or the subsequent Bhashyas and then trying to do an English translation of it. It will be catastrophic. I have not yet gone into the Bhashya part of it, which I will do tomorrow. I am stopping it halfway through. We will do the commentary aspect of that tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavad. Namaste, Prakash.
Namaste, Binduji. Namaste. Pranam. I've opened the hand raising and chat, so if there's any questions, please come up. I'm also going to paste the link for all the repositories where you can access the earlier talks. The chat is open now, and the hand raising.
Namaste, Venkat.
Binduji, it's pretty clear today, that Varna setup went so clear today.
Okay.
The follow-up is, even the Devas belong to this box.
Yes, Devas, Asuras, everyone.
Okay.
Because in Devas also there is Guru. In Asuras also there is Guru, Brahmana, in that.
Okay.
Right?
So there is a gradation there also.
Everywhere. It is in the cosmic and social, both. Social order in the cosmos. That is why I said planet, stars, trees, birds, animals, human beings, everywhere you can see this.
Okay. So because I have this weird experience, maybe a minute, I'll take it.
Yeah, take.
So this is like when I bought my new car, we have this thing about visiting our village.
Yes.
And we have village deity. And on the way in a place called Pavagad, there is on a Saturday, on a weekend we went there because that Shani temple is whoever goes there visit that place. Because, I just returned, I told my dad I don't have any belief in it. Let's go directly to our village. So everybody goes past that place. Dad was not comfortable. Okay, he attempted on the way back to visit again in the evening. Then again, I put it down and said no time. By the time we passed the town, my new car in the bottom something hit it, and that gear transmission to the gear got cut.
Oh God.
So, because I had some knowledge of it, I went below the car and took a telephone cable and tied that.
Okay.
And start driving again. So half the way towards Bangalore, there is a truck came and hit me on the driver's side. The window sort of, the rear mirror got smashed, and said, no option except I have to go to the nearest police station in Tumkur.
Okay.
the evening for 6:30 or so, this police station guy, he said, okay, you need to wait for a minute, come with me. So they have this, Shani temple right beside. They put us in front there. Okay. So what I try to escape, eventually
you had to do it.
You have to do it. So there is this whole, is this a Kshetrapala? Is this sort of, configured that way also?
Yeah.
In the manifested world.
Yes.
So this is sort of, I try to bypass it. Got a hard landing, then we decided, okay, we got what we got to know. I just silently came out and I repaired myself. So this is my hard learning on this dimension. Yeah.
There is a famous saying. In every yajna, there is a offering which you have to do a yaksha. Yaksha is supposed to be protecting the yajna shala and all the whole sacrificial area. And the Ritik is supposed to do a offering to the yaksha first. Then only he should start the yajna. So, sometimes what happens in the hurry and to do this thing or whatever thing, they forget to do this offering to the yaksha before. And whenever they have forgotten to do that to the yaksha, there would have been a case where the yajna gets disturbed by some contamination. Either some bird will come and sit in the nivedyam, or some dog will cut across and run through the yajna, or something will happen and that will get broken. So it has become a saying that in the Mimamsaka especially, this thing that whatever due for yaksha has to be given to that first, then only the rest should be taken care.
That Yajna Shishta now coming alive.
Yeah.
Because there is a play here behind the scene. And what you are left with is what is yours.
Yes.
Okay. Jai Banerjee.
Thank you, Venkat. Namaste, Srini.
Namaste, Vidyaji. So my question was there are so many complications, right? At least for me, it looks like one is karta, one is akarta, one is avyaya, and avyaya also means, like you explained, it should be devoid of the mala or something like that. So isn't it ultimately simple to explain it as there is a Nirguna Brahma, there is a Saguna Brahma, and all these projections or something is being done by that entity which is in a way different from the Nirguna Brahma. So isn't that explanation easier compared to this way of explaining the karta, avyaya aspects in this way? At least for me, this way seems more complicated.
It's not complicated at all. In fact, I was planning to explain it in the tomorrow's class, since you have asked. Now, imagine who is the karta of your dream?
Yeah, in a way, I can say that I am probably. Yeah.
Okay. So, because you are bringing memory from the waking. So, the waker says, I am going for dreaming.
In that way, correct.
Right? But the entire dream, the karta is the waker, but is the karta present in the dream?
No, I don't.
No. So he is non-doer in the dream, no?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
As a waker, he is non-doer in the dream.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, that part is clear. Yeah.
Exactly the same. The Brahman has never become the empirical or the Vyavaharika. It is he projected that Atma Mayaya. like we projecting our dream and entering the dream, then we know that we created the dream, but when we come back to the waking only, we say we projected the dream. But when in the dream, I couldn't say that I projected my dream. Same way, Krishna, having known his reality, is talking from the Paramarthika level that I am the Karta of the social order of this empirical world, Arjuna, where you are experiencing the empirical world. But I am not the Karta, I am the Akarta and Avyaya. Please know that. Like this Baker saying that in the dream, the dreamer, you the dreamer and whatever the dreamer, please understand in the dream that I am the waker who is now creating the dream, provided the people were able to see the waker in the dream and contact with him and talk. But here, in this case, the Krishna himself is present as an avatara. That is why the avatara part was discussed earlier. But in the case of a dreamer, the waker and the dreamer, the avatara doesn't take place. Therefore, it is difficult to give the same example of the avatara thing in the dream, because we never experienced that avatara in the dream. So, if you have to understand from that point of view, you will be able to make out the parallel between the two.
Yeah. I think in this way it is very clear, because Krishna is saying that, like you gave the example of the waker and dreamer. I think this way it is very clear. But the point is, then I think he's indicating something more than this also, right? Because he's using terms like avyaya.
Yeah.
Now that has to be beyond the waking dream analogy itself, right? So,
waking and dream analogy, I used it to make you understand this thing.
For karta, akarta, we can take the waking dream. But when the avyaya aspect is coming, it is a little bit more than that, right?
No, avyaya is required for establishing how he is becoming akarta. Because kartrutva will become necessarily vyaya, means perishable. Is modifications in the doer. Whenever he is saying that I am the doer, there will be a modification in you, because you will be expecting result, you will feel the reaction. If it is favorable, you will be happy, unfavorable, you will become angry. That modifications in you will take if you are a karta. But if you want to be an akarta, these type of modifications should not happen even when you project it. That is why a karma yogi, when he achieves it in this total karma yoga level, he is a jnani. Even though he is a karma yogi, he is a jnani because he knows himself as the akartaram and avyayam from that point of view. That is where the whole Gita is leading us to understand that. Even while you are working as a human being, thinking that you are the limiting adjunct body, mind and intellect and everything, you are the self, which is akarta and avyaya. And all these things are nothing but projections from the self point of view or Brahman point of view. There is no such differentiation between nirguna and saguna, Brahman like that. It is only when you look from which side of the coin, you have one side the tail, one side the head. But the coin is only one.
Yeah, I think, this last part is little bit throwing me off. But till that waking dream analogy and Krishna saying it like that, it was crystal clear. But I think the point where, this projection and all, when these things come, right? I think that is where I think still there is some more, what is that, hair splitting or something like that comes, and there also even the projection comes into question, right? Like what does this projection even mean for like at that level or something like. From a human point of view, I can understand that because I see something, there must be some projection and somebody should have projected it. That is like a normal waker or a human. But from the ultimate point of view, this cannot make sense, right? Like
why not? Think your deep sleep and your waking and dream. Who projected your waking and dream? Who projected?
But we cannot like how. In a way, like we said, for example, the waker is responsible for the dreams because of the memories in waking. But then what is the source of the waker itself? Is the deep sleeper having some memories which are being projected as a waker? Now that is the kind of question, right?
That is why Mandukya said, no, Bija Nidra Yuta Prajna. That is the Swabhava of awareness, which is projecting itself as the waker and the dreamer. The waker, me, Bindo, and the waker, Srinivas, may be different. But the projector in the deep sleep of Srinivas and Bindo, there is no differentiation. In the deep sleep, we all become one. Maybe we may go to sleep at different times. That is from the waking point of view. But at the reality of the deep sleep, there is no difference between the deep sleep of Bindo and deep sleep of Srinivas. That is why in the Mandukya, that if you listen to Mandukya commentary again, you will understand that where Gaudapada says that Bija Nidra Yuta Prajna. The Prajna is the Bija for what? Jagrat Swapna. You understand that is the way you have to understand. Actually speaking, this waking is the one which is now making up a story that I have a deep sleep. Actually, the deep sleep is not of the waker. It is the other way around. It is the deep sleep entity which is projecting the waker and the dreamer. But since in the waking we can't imagine or go to that side and say, how will we look like? We are there every time when we enter that state of deep sleep. But it is not the waker who is sleeping. Because in the whole thing, Kaushitiki Brahmana, it says that even the ego, the prana, the body, the mind, the intellect, the world, the star, the ring, devatas, Krishna, Vishnu, Maheshwara, everything is of the waking is dissolved in the deep sleep. And he becomes what? Sat. Pure existence. Not even that awareness. That is the stage where the awareness, it means you should know something. That is also not there. But a memory that I knew nothing is being projected by the waker to say that I knew nothing in my deep sleep. Because he was expecting memory of waking or dream to be present in the deep sleeper. Because he is thinking it is the waker who is now going into dream and the waker who is going into deep sleep. That is not the case.
Yeah, I do understand this point. Like the bija being in the deep sleep. But the point is like one thing I was thinking was, is that question even valid, that how the waker is waking up or something like that? Now, what?
Don't the waker want to know?
Like, is there a like, maybe we want to know many things, right? Like, what is it? Like, by knowing this, is there anything like that? That's what I was thinking. But I understand, Vindaji. I think, looking forward to tomorrow's session. Maybe something, I'll think about it more. Thank you, Vindaji.
Okay. Thank you, Srini. Namaste, Patrick.
Hari Om, Bindu. Bindu,
Hari
the question of Akarta is when I was texting you this weekend or whenever it was regarding doing action volition. This is kind of what I was. I understand what the teaching is here, but can you skip past the teaching? And I don't know why you won't accept that if there's only Brahman, Brahmins. I mean, the concept of what you tried to share with me was, it's Brahman's nature. It's not. There's no doing and there's no volition. There's no will. There's no there's no intention.
Right.
But I don't want to say that doesn't make sense, but this seems to be like an elementary teaching, in the sense that that there's no Akarta. So if there's only Brahman, then Brahman's there's no limits on how it's to be seen. It doesn't make sense that you would. This is an elementary teaching, so I don't know why you won't just admit that that there's doing taking place in Brahman, by Brahman, in Brahman. It's all volition. I accept that you know something that I don't, but you're not sharing. It's not, whatever you're saying is not bringing me over, the river or the gap.
Is there movement in space, Patrick?
Is there what?
Movement in space.
There's a NASA spacecraft moving from Earth to...
No. I'm not asking for things moving inside space. I am asking, is there movement in space?
It all depends on how
does the space move?
Does space move? No.
Huh?
No.
No. Okay. When
space expanding, though. There's space expanding.
That is, space is not expanding. Our capability to measure space is expanding.
Sure.
Space is non-movement. But all movements depend upon the space. Without space, no movement can take place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this is understood, that is exactly what is creation also. In Brahman, in awareness or existence, there is no creation happening.
Yeah, that's easy to understand, but the point is that Brahman, like the when you were talking to Srini about the dream, the dream isn't an accident. It's not some random. It's all willed by Brahman.
Exactly. It is willed by Brahman. That dream is there, waking is there, the world is there.
Okay, so now
it's all Brahman.
I've got you to the question of will. So you're accepting that there's will.
No, it is not the will. If there is a will, there has to be an ego for it.
I don't know why. If there's only Brahman, why can't you accept that there's will?
There is only No. I am saying there is only Brahman.
Yeah.
There is only Brahman.
Yeah.
That is no doubt about it. Only Brahman. Like there is only space. All objects are inside the space.
Yeah.
And the objects also will not exist unless there is space for them also inside the space. Take out space from an object and show me an object which is outside the space. It can't. That is why we are saying everything is space. The object inside the space is also space only because it is existing inside the space because it has got space in it. Same way, it's all Brahman only.
I think it's the classic this thing Vedanta happening, because when you are answering Patrick, I like the answer, and I think when you were answering me, Patrick liked that answer. So you are in some middle ground, seems like, Binduji. That middle ground is what we are trying to find. I think both Patrick. So Patrick is happy if there is a will in Brahman. I am happy if, there is no will, and somehow the whole thing can be detached or something. But your ground seems to be kind of a middle ground. I think that's what even I am interested.
Totally. I saw it. I listened to when you were talking, and I was laughing.
Answer this question: is attention primordial, right? If you can figure out the attention primordial, then any connection possible. Okay, check this out. This has to be extremely complete. Attention primordial. If it is not primordial, then what Binduji stands on, that works. If it is primordial, what you're looking for may work.
I think the question like space moves or not is same as the question like isn't the deep sleep creating the waker, right? Now, if we say space doesn't move, we should also say that the deep sleep is not creating the waker. Otherwise, we should say that yes, the space is moving and then the air gets formed or the panchikarana is happening, right, Binduji? Where is this? Isn't both of them aren't they related? Like
that is where, Srini, if you are taking the reality of independent things not as dependent realities, then what you are saying will come to true. The space creating the air, etc., akashat vayu, etc. That is only for an explanation purpose. But in reality, when Taittiriya was explained, I said that the space which is formed out of Atma is not different from Atma. But the quality of sound made the space appear to have an independent reality, but it is not independent from Atma. Same way, then the sense of touch when it is formed, again from Atma, and in the space, then it became Vayu. Like that, when we are saying we are bringing the whole Atma, Brahman itself as these things. Vayu is not, Akasha is not different from Brahma, Vayu is not different from Brahma, Teja is not different from, Apa is not different. All of them are Brahman only. But when a quality is separated out from the total quality, then we feel independence to it. But that independence is not without dependence. That is where we have to understand the difference between the two.
Bindu, I'm sorry to come in and then leave, but I've got to jump to a phone call. But if you've got anything else that you think of that you can text me, that would really, I'd be very grateful on this. It's simply, it's just a language thing.
It's that's exactly why I'm with you. It's a language thing. You have to understand it from a...
Yeah. That's all I'm looking for is just how you're seeing it so that I can characterize it in it, or at least understand how you characterize it. I might not necessarily agree how you're, phrasing it or whatever. But anyway, we're on the same page.
Okay.
Thanks, guys, so much for...
Thank you.
Venkat, Srini. Okay, Bindu, how do you...
Yeah, I'm also closing down because it will continue tomorrow.
Thank you, Binduji.
Thank you.
Okay, Binduji, we can close the room. So tomorrow we'll meet again at 8:30 p.m. IST. As always, you can check the replays before coming because that will give you continuity. And so meet everyone tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. IST. Thank you very much, Binduji. Over to you to close the room.
Thank you. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Venkat. Thank you, Srini. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you all of you for listening. We'll continue the remaining part of this 13 to us tomorrow. Hari Om. Good night.
Good night. Hari Om.